us. Impressive.
Shall we? We're live.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. We're going to sit on our yoga mats, and
Love
you can
that.
sit on yours or on a towel.
Oh, or if you're Daisy, you can sit on Mary's. Hey, Daisy.
Oh, hello.
She's like, oh, very sweet. Daisy's a lover. Come here, baby.
Good morning. Happy day 5. I think Daisy has chosen.
Daisy has chosen. All right, here we are.
It is the end of introduction week, and we have a very special flow and journal prompt for you today. And yeah.
I hope that last night after our workout in the evening that you took some time and were able to heal for yourself. If you're not still feeling 100%, that's okay. Be real with yourself. Thank yourself for being here. You're doing good work. You're doing work that matters. And we're glad to have you along on the journey.
We are. Awesome. Make sure that you have your tea and honey with a little bit of lemon as well as water, something nice and warm in your tummy, and we're going to be flowing it out and doing our journal this morning. Where the flow, so how that usually goes is I lead the flow, and then I will pick up where the journal prompt is, and so we have a really awesome morning starter for you. The flow that I'm getting inspired by today is from this book, which is The 4 Elements. 10-10 recommend. It's a Toltec wisdom book by Don Miguel Ruiz. And basically, it's just how to live a life full of peace, happiness, ancient wisdom, and there's a lot of connections in this book to other religions, but it's a wisdom book, right? So it's not just a religious-based book. So I really recommend this if you're trying to get the most out of your life. I found it extremely helpful. And so I just want to read a little bit of it, and that's what's going to inspire our flow today. Our flow today, it's Friday, so we're going to be warriors and flowing. I was like, my bum is being touched this morning. Hello, another bum touch. Hello, that's
It's the toe. She's, she thinks you're a good stable base there, right?
Oh, I love it. Okay. So, being impeccable with your word, what does that mean? Well, impeccability means without sin. Impeccable comes from the Latin pectus, which means sin. The from impeccable means without. So impeccable means without sin. Religions talk about sins and sinners. Let's understand what it really means to sin. A sin, a sin is anything that you do which goes against yourself. I'm going to repeat that. A sin is anything you do that goes against yourself. Those of you who have been raised in religion like us, I don't think I've really heard that definition a whole ton. That a sin is anything that goes against yourself. Everything you feel or believe or say that goes against yourself is a sin. You go against yourself when you judge or blame yourself for anything. Being without sin is the exact opposite. So being impeccable is the exact opposite. When you are impeccable, you take responsibility for your actions, but you do not judge or blame yourself. You take responsibility as someone who cares about those around you and cares about how you're growing as a human, but you do not dwell on the blame or the judgment that comes with it. That is an agreement that often many of us make with ourselves, where we will do jail time for the decisions that we have made or the choices that bum us out or whatever. But we can't, because that's not being impeccable with your word. That is just sinning against yourself. So this morning,
Daisy, come here, baby.
Beep, 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 beep.
She's like, oh, I'm sorry. Did you think? Beep. Hey, Bunches, come here.
You. Okay. Okay. This morning, come to a comfortable seat. Okay.
You're good.
We're going to gonna do just a couple energizing brain fog breaths, and then we're gonna go into a warrior flow, getting our bodies feeling strong and powerful and excited and energized. And I got a burst of energy, so that's exciting. So you're taking your thumb and either your pointer or your middle finger. The idea of this is that we're inhaling through one nostril while closing the other, flipping it, and then exhaling through the other. Then the one we exhaled out of is the one that we inhale in, flip it, exhale. Repeat the process a couple times. This is awesome for waking up, awesome for brain fog. It makes me feel like tingly inside. I also suggest that you do this outside with the fresh air. And if it's cold where you're at, ooh. I did it yesterday with my third graders, the breathing, and they were just like, oh my gosh, I feel like vibrating because it's cold and we're doing this breathing thing.
It's a whole nother level.
It is. So we're going to focus on doing 6 breaths, and so 3 on each side. Now, embrace your sniffles. Let them out. Let them be a part of who you are as you wake up in the morning, because I know I wake up oftentimes with sniffles. Inhaling through one nostril. Hold it. Exhale. Inhale. Hold. I don't know how Daisy feels about that.
Daisy was very surprised by the power coming out of my right nostril there.
I need a tissue. That's what I need. Go ahead and do more of those if you need, but I want to jump to our warrior flow as we only have a little bit more time before we hop into our journal prompt.
Love it.
So we're actually going to stand up for this, and the reason why I want to get us standing is because, yes, I want us to be kind and gentle and generous to our body, but I also want us to acknowledge that we are powerful at all points in ourself and in our body. Okay. All right. Inhaling. Exhaling, letting it rain on down. Another one. Catch a wave. Bring that wave with you as we rain it down. This time, step your left foot back. Turn it out a little bit. Unless you're wanting to stay, you can stay here in Warrior 1 or turn it out in Warrior 2. We're going to open up. So I'm bringing my right hand to my foot and I'm opening up this way. Beautiful. This is powerful. Yes. And open up to the other way. Get both sides open. Now frame your foot. Be gentle as you come up. In a Warrior 2, meaning that my back foot is turned out just to support me. Warrior 1 is great, but today I'm just going to be in a nice Warrior 2. Open up here and come on forward. Now breathe and feel the power of yourself, of your body. You are impeccable with your word. You do not blame yourself for what happens, but you take responsibility for your actions. Cartwheel it down. Step your right foot back, pedal through a nice down dog. Bring your left foot forward. You can bring your knee down if you'd like for a moment. We're going to go back into those side openers. So here, you can leave your left hand here and open up, but I like to match it, meaning I like to bring it here, because then I really feel this body, shoulder, back opener. And as gently as you came up, switch it around. Frame your foot. Turn your back heel out a little bit. Bring it up. Woo. You are here. You are present. You are light. You are love. We are made of light. We are made of stars. The true us is true light, true love. Don't let your human self take away from your spiritual being. You are more than just a physical human. Reel it down into a down dog. If you're not here at down dog today, you can just hang out in cat cow on all fours. I'm going to bring one of my legs up, turn it out a little bit and back, just gently, trying to keep my hands and shoulders still planted, but being aware that my hip flexors may be a little bit tight this morning, so sending them some extra love. Awesome. Go ahead and come on your knees. Ooh. Open up your legs as wide as the mat. We're going to end in a child's pose, but this is extended child's pose. What I'm envisioning here is that my chest is coming down to the mat, and I'm being very gracious and gentle with my movements. I'm walking my hands out, allowing myself to come deeper and deeper and deeper. Forehead down. You can even put your fingertips up so you feel your shoulders. What is your intention today? Mine is to, yesterday we talked about beasts, and mine is to acknowledge the beasts so that I can be at peace with them. Those emotions that we feel that oftentimes we want to get rid of. They are a part of us. They're the beautiful side to our complex personality and what makes us us. There goes the beast. The beast. You're always finding something new to play with, aren't you, Days? I love it. As gently as you went down, you will transition into getting our thoughts and feelings onto paper. And I know that the Stoics talk about how reflection and goal setting and writing down, journaling is one of the most important steps that you can take, because it's truly creating your dreams. It's creating your reality. So, hi. She loves you, Matt. Yes, you do. She knows where she goes. All right. Oh, perfect.
Oh, right on schedule. That's a good feeling, isn't it? All right, so for our journal prompt, I'm sorry, did I cut you off? Okay, lovely. For our journal prompt, we're going to go ahead and open up all my doodles in there from the last time we journaled together. That's fun. Today, I want to reflect on and build on the idea of like our impeccable speaking impeccably and how we need to take responsibility for our actions, but how we also need to be honest and gentle with ourselves and acknowledge maybe why we did the things we did specifically. That's what I want you to focus on. And the way that I want you to focus on it is through a love letter to God. I got this idea from a song that we listened to yesterday by Nico and Medicine for the People, called Love Letters to God. And the refrain goes, writing love letters to God, sending love letters to God. Do you think that she ever reads them? Or do you think they get lost in the stars? And yesterday, when I talked about Christianity, I talked about how it has appropriated a lot of its traditions that we see now and whatnot, and it's lost a lot of its core message. And one of the core messages that we really lost was God's adoration, devotion, and love of Mary, who represented the most vulnerable in society. A few days ago, when Black voters, specifically when Black women voters, were mobilizing in Georgia to help, quote unquote, save the country, save America, turn the Senate. And regardless, whatever side of the political spectrum you're on there, we sent a lot of gratitude their way, and a message that was given out a lot was, don't love Black women just on days when they're out here saving your butts, right? Let's make sure that we are acknowledging the most vulnerable in society, acknowledging A, how they're helping us, B, how we are or are not helping or treating them. And actually, I think that's it. I think that's where I want to focus on today. But I want to focus on that through a love letter to God. Here's your journal prompt. Dear God.
Dear God. I feel like we're saying a prayer. Hey, that's fine.
She's like, I want to journal.
This is weeping.
You sent me with a mission to love everyone. And then go from there. Maybe you'll start with, and I failed. Or maybe you'll go to, and I've done really well. Or, man, I'm realizing now how much better I could have been doing here. Or whatever.
Maybe you'll say, and I don't believe.
Beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah. Remember that your prayer, your love letter to God, whether you physically believe in a God, don't let the God that you were taught hinder the power and the beauty of the Almighty, the divine, the ever-knowing, the all-loving. Because that's so sad.
The spirit that calls us back to each other.
The hope. Will you repeat the journal?
Yes, ma'am. Absolutely. Dear God, you sent me on a mission to love. Something that might also help, I found, used to talk about God a lot as a male. And recently I've been really trying to focus on talking about God either in a non-binary or female way. And I think that has really helped my relationship with God, the divine. So, if that helps you at all. Hey, come over here. Have a seat. Sit down. Hey, Belle, are you going to need to go in my room, man?
Daisy really likes Weeping Buddha. If you don't know what Weeping Buddha is, look it up. My beautiful friend and roommate, Liv, got this for me for Christmas, and it is one of my favorite meditation tools. That's what she's so obsessed about right
She's getting that good energy day. Please keep journaling. But Mary gave me this beautiful little Zen Shorts book. I think we might have read this to you guys once already. Okay, perfect. Well, the story in here is going to be called Uncle Rye and the Moon. Uncle Rye is based on Yokan Tegu. Well, that kind of sounds like Yo's name. We have a friend Yo. But Yokan Tegu, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly. He was a Japanese poet living in 1758 to 1831. And I think that this short little 2-page story really sums up our mission for love in the world. So while you journal, and maybe move to the story if you'd like, if you're done journaling. Uncle Rye and the Moon. My Uncle Rye lived alone in a small house up on the hills. He didn't own many things. He lived a simple life. One evening, he discovered he had a visitor. A robber had broken into the house and was rummaging through my uncle's few belongings. The robber didn't notice Uncle Rye, and when my uncle said, "Hello," the robber was so startled he almost fell down. My uncle smiled at the robber and shook his hand. "Welcome, welcome, how nice of you to visit." The robber opened his mouth to speak, but couldn't think of anything to say. Because Rye never lets anyone leave empty-handed, he looked around the tiny hut for a gift for the robber. But there was nothing to give. The robber began to go back towards the door. He wanted to leave. At last, Uncle Rye knew what to do. He took off his only robe, which was old and tattered. "Here," he said, "please take this." The robber thought my uncle was crazy. He took the robe, dashed out the door, and escaped into the night. My uncle sat and looked at the moon, its silvery light spilling over the mountains, making all things quietly beautiful. "Poor man," lamented my uncle. "Poor man. All I had to give him was my tattered robe. If only I could have given him this wonderful moon." This story reminds me that we live in abundance. At least I do. And I have a lot less than a lot of people, but I also have so much to give. And when I reframe my thinking in that way, I receive more from the world because of that.
Challenge. What will you give to those around you today? And remember, it doesn't have to be physical. We're not asking you to give away your things. But if you feel inclined, certainly give stuff away. But what are you giving to others today? Are you giving them love and light and warmth? Or are you giving them judgment, fear, and doubt? We are all mirrors or a reflection of each other. And when we start to really believe that, we start to change the world around us because we are treating everyone with respect and love and asking questions instead of making judgments. And that's how the world will change. That's how the world is changing.
And how you're being a wonderful part of that. How much time do we have left with our wonderful
fun too today.
5 more minutes. That's good. That's a good amount of time. I'm going to go ahead and then remind anybody who might not have been able to catch us last night that starting next week, we are going to be moving to getting up early on Tuesdays and Thursdays. 5:30 in the morning, we'll meet here for our meditation on those days. And then 5:30 p.m. on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday nights, we'll be meeting for our groovy dance workouts. This is so Mary can be working on her yoga certification. Isn't that exciting? Please let us know how waking up early for this week has gone for you. Because I think it's going to be really interesting next week when we transition to waking up early on the 2 days a week. I want to know how that affects your morning ritual of love.
And let us know what your morning ritual is. Have you ever heard of savers? That is one that is great. And so if you are like, I don't have a morning ritual, I don't know what to do, I wake up tired and exhausted, I feel you. It is not easy. Why do you think we started flo.aph? So that we can grow. But silence, affirmations, visualization, exercise, reading, and scribing. And so those are just ideas of quick 1-minute things that you can do to start your morning ritual of love off right. 1 minute, just try it. And then it'll start to bloom into more time and more time for yourself.
After we are done here this morning, I'm going to take a little bit of time to meditate, and then I'm going to call my congressperson and ask them just about several different things that are happening in the country, but specifically today, I'm going to remember to ask them to support HR 1738. It is for to get rid of child marriages. There's a child marriage visa loophole currently that actually ends up affecting about 10,000 children every 7 or 8 years, something like that. So certainly some of the most vulnerable in our world, specifically usually coming from impoverished or traditionally impoverished countries. So HR 1738, if your morning ritual includes calling your congressperson, all the better for it. What a good gift to give to the world today.
Let them hear your voice.
Mm-hmm. Use your impeccable speech.
Look who's joining us.
Oh, hello. Good morning, Abba. Happy you've come.
Oh, I was like, excuse me, Daisy. Well, then fine.
I guess I'll hang out here. Look at us.
Look at us.
Switching it up today. Oh, I was like, no. I'm just going to come over here and get rid of the dog.
We love you. Love Daisy. Take time for yourself today. We will see you tomorrow as we continue to grow. And thank you for being with us here for our first week. Oh, we love each other. We don't make sharp movements because it makes each other scared.
Daisy's a big old farm doggo, and she thinks that any small animal needs to be inspected immediately. A squirrel.
How can I do something for you? I love it. Be impeccable with your word. What was our challenge?
To give something to somebody. An act of love.
Oh my gosh.
I know, right?
Some
mornings are so fun. This is the real us.
We're like, we're like getting ready for the energy that it takes to entertain third graders all day.
It's a lot.
It's okay. We'll probably watch an episode of Avatar. It's great.
Heck yeah. So social, emotional.
Yes, all the wellnesses.
Love it.
Enjoy the rest of your day, and we will see you here next week.